You're looking here at CISC, the Canadian International School of Communication, Canadian school under the IB platform and the PYP curriculum framework. I'm going to guide you through my classroom here, give you a quick peek, just a little bit of it as we jump right into the Ontario curriculum framework. I printed this off from the internet. We don't have a lot in-house, and I've been doing my best to comb through it. There's a lot to it, and I've been taking it in chunks and doing what I can to implement it, aligning as best as I can with our unit of inquiries. For the purpose of this activity, I've gone ahead and dug into the comprehension strategies for our reading curriculum. This one is outlined as to identify several reading comprehension strategies and use them before, during, and after reading to understand the texts. So if we break this down with our verbs and nouns and unpack this curriculum, we're looking at our concepts, which are reading comprehension strategies and texts. To go along with that, we needed to figure out what are the skills for this curriculum standard. So we need the kids to identify, use, and understand. And then the big ideas. Firstly, we want students to be able to use pictures and the title to make predictions before reading a story. Additionally, we want them to be previewing a text and understand that that can help us better understand the story. And lastly, students should be able to understand that we can use clues from the text to make predictions about the story. So I'm considering to myself, how can I implement these big ideas, skills, and concepts in a manner that complements the unit of inquiry that we're studying right now, which is who we are, a unit that focuses on the human body systems, how they're interdependent, and the healthy choices that impact our bodies. We did start with the skeletal systems. So thinking about Halloween coming and along with our body unit, created activity 1 called invisible reading, which really could be done with a variety of different texts. But for the purpose of my classroom, I've chosen the story Funny Bones. I've called this invisible reading because I don't want the kids to be able to see any of the visual elements. I don't want them to see the cover or any of the pictures. The idea here is that we are going to read and listen to the text. This is how the story begins. On a dark, dark hill, there was a dark, dark town. In the dark, dark town, there was a dark, dark street. In the dark, dark street, there was a dark, dark house. In the dark, dark house, there was a dark, dark staircase. Down the dark, dark staircase, there was a dark, dark cellar. In the dark, dark cellar, and we're going to stop the reading there. So I want the students here to listen to the tone of the story, pick out key vocabularies to really understand the second part of this activity. I'm going to bring in one of my favorite elements is a storyboard. One of the reasons I love storyboards is that they're pretty easy to differentiate. Some of my kids really do better displaying their knowledge visually. So I'm going to give them the opportunity to draw their story first and then go back and put in some key words or some short sentences, depending on the student. But some of my students could write novels. So I might give them a different variation of the storyboard and allow them to just run with the story and finish it however they see fit. To assess this activity, I'll be looking at a few different elements in the students' storyboards and or their presentations of their final story. I want to see if students were able to identify and understand the key vocabulary that sets the tone in the story. It's a spooky, dark place, given the text that we do have. This activity, compared to the first big idea, which uses pictures and the title to make predictions, really focuses on the second big idea, where students are asked to look for clues within the text to help them make predictions about the story. I'm going to look to see that students' storyboards pictures for some students and full text for others demonstrate an understanding of how to apply clues from the text to finish the story on their own. Activity 2 is going to look a little bit different. This activity is going to focus on the first big idea, using the cover and the title of a book to make predictions about the story. The activity could be done with almost any story, but I like the idea of incorporating another Halloween-themed story. My students could not be more excited about this upcoming holiday. So for this lesson, I've selected a story called The Witch Who Was Frightened of Halloween. It's a fun title that lends itself to so many different story variations. I think the students will have fun with this, and we'll have loads of creative stories to read as we approach Halloween. So this is the online version of the cover, which I intend to print for each student so they can really examine the details. I'll give them time to create their own story, which they can present in any form that suits them. If they want to write a story, draw a comic, or create a short skit in a small group, since the objective is to make conclusions from the story features, the way they present their understanding could really be done in a variety of ways, and I want students to be creative and have fun with this activity. When I assess, I'll be looking to see that students have identified and incorporated some of the key elements from the cover: the witch, her cat, her broom, and of course why she's frightened about Halloween. I'd like the more advanced students to be using different words for frightened and really stretch their vocabulary, but all the students really need to demonstrate why the witch is scared of Halloween. Stay tuned for an update on how these activities go in my second grade classroom. Thanks for watching.